It's Festivus.
It's nothing. It's a stupid holiday that doesn't exist.
Festivus is your heritage. It's part of who you are. You gather your family around and tell them all the ways they have disappointed you over the past year. A Festivus for the rest of it.
This new holiday of yours is scratching me right where I itch.
Let's do it then.
All right.
Festivus is back. I'll get the pole out of the crawl space.
Hey, baseball fans, Mac McGee here for the BCR. Make sure to subscribe and become a member today. All offseason, we have a jam-packed schedule to keep you entertained and informed during the MLB offseason. Weekly shows like MLB Today, Braves Country Today, going over the world of baseball, how it affects all teams, including the Atlanta Braves. Once Upon a Pastime series, Thursday nights, we'll take a deep dive on the history of this great game. And on Friday nights, Braves Country Theater, we're going to turn back the clock and bring you historic games from the past. We'll bring you a game from yesteryear. That's Braves.
It's Festivus.
It's nothing. It's a stupid holiday that doesn't exist.
Festivus is your heritage. It's part of who you are. You gather your family around and tell them all the ways they have disappointed you over the past year. A Festivus for the rest of it.
This new holiday of yours is scratching me right where I itch.
Let's do it then.
All right.
Festivus is back. I'll get the pole out of the crawl space.
Good morning, everybody. How the hell are you? It is our end of the year Festivus show. Bobby, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to ringing the new year with you guys, talk about some football. I'm ready to get this going.
And Douglas, how's it going?
Absolutely. Can't wait to get it on. Excited for bowl games and everything going on in the NFL. Who's going to make what position, where, who will win this Sunday and Saturday.
We've got a bunch of bowl games today. In fact, Vanderbilt kicks off at noon today. One of the few bowl games I'll say that I'm planning on watching. I know it doesn't realistically matter, but I don't think we're getting a ton of opt-outs on either side, so it should be entertaining. Most of these games I have not paid attention to. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I would have it on in the background as I'm working in studio, and I would look up every once in a while and go, "Oh, okay." But I just honestly didn't care. I did watch quite a bit of the Tennessee game last night. Man, was that a rough way to lose that one? Tennessee lost to Illinois for folks who missed that one. But all in all, the bowl season sucks. And we're going to get into that as a bunch of other things. First thing we're going to get out of the way, though, today is we're going to get our picks out, and then we're going to do our Festivus Awards. Figure it'd be better to do it that way than to do one or the other, because I got a feeling that the Festivus Awards will take up quite a bit of time, as we usually have a lot of fun with this. We have not done this in a few years, but it's usually a pretty good one. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. I've got a hell of a situation going on. All right, let me double check and make sure everything. Okay, we're good to go on the sound side. Let's see. We got Robert in here. Good morning to you, Robert, as well, and Happy New Year. pre-Happy New Year. Remember, tomorrow, 4 o'clock, Indiana, Alabama, we'll call the game right here. I'm probably going to put a chat up for the Georgia game, but doing a doubleheader of football, college football, is just cruel and unusual punishment to start off the year, so I'm not doing that. I'm not staying up. That'll be about 9 hours of broadcasting, and at some point I got to just be smart about it. So we're going to do Indiana, Alabama, and then we've already decided, because we had to let a few of the radio stations know, and because we've already done Alabama, Oklahoma, we're doing Indiana, Alabama tomorrow. Regardless who wins, we're doing the Thursday game, which should be Georgia or Ole Miss versus Miami versus Ohio State. So we're doing it that way. That way, if Georgia does go to the next round, we do get Georgia in. I do think Georgia will get to the next round. I'd be really shocked if they don't beat an Ole Miss team that's just been gutted by their coaching staff. And the underdog game, you kind of pulls for an Ole Miss type of thing, doesn't it, Bobby? I mean, you know,
absolutely, yeah. I'm rooting for the
funny would
interim
it
coach.
be if they win the national championship, and I would not give him a ring or anything if I'm Ole Miss.
Oh yeah, that would be the best way to stick it to Kiffin. Do I think that'll happen? No, but it'd be an incredible story. So yeah, I'm definitely rooting for that, and I'm always rooting against Georgia. So yeah, I'm definitely pulling for Ole Miss and the underdog story they got going on now.
Yeah, I'm not really rooting against Georgia per se. I don't have a dog in that hunt, but
yeah,
all puns intended here on Armchair QB Radio. But I'm more pulling for Ole Miss. And I'd say whoever wins that game is who I'd be rooting for, because I know I'm not pulling for Miami. And I have my doubts I would be pulling for Ohio State, especially since they just won the national championship.
Yeah.
Right? All in all, if you got one team that you're pulling for, who is it, Bobby? If they say that you only you got one ride or die for the rest of it, what story do you like the most?
I like Indiana's story. I like what Fernando Mendoza, the season he's had at Indiana. I like Kurt Signetti, what he's done with that program. They're an easy to root for team right now. So I would say Indiana is probably the team I'm rolling with right now in terms of who I want to win.
Doug, what about you? You got one team that you're pulling for?
I'm right. Texas Tech. I love their story just as much too. Brought in all those kids, spent $12 million in ILS money, took it. Brought in a coach, a high school coach, who was a legend in Texas. Brought him in, and I love what they're building there.
Yeah, honest engine. That's probably my pick, is Texas Tech, and because of the fact that they're not in what is considered one of the big two conferences, right? So they're not from the Big Ten. They're not from the SEC. And so there's also that underdog factor. But I don't hate Bobby's pick with Indiana. It does feel like the big underdog, but at the same token, they are a Big Ten team. Now, what they've done this year in the Big Ten has just been phenomenal. I wouldn't mind seeing Oregon getting there, although I don't really have that much of a pulling factor for them. And at this point, honest engine, if you say, who the hell am I pulling for? It's whoever's playing the Miami Hurricanes. So, and I want to see them get dragged in a big way tonight. I'd like to see Ohio State. I do believe Ohio State's going to beat them, and I don't think it's going to be like this shootout. I think it's going to be just a bludgeoning of defense on both sides, and Ohio State will find a way to get the victory, mainly because I'm banking on the fact that Miami will make more mistakes than Ohio State will. All right, let's go ahead and get into the picks, and then we'll dive into the Festivus for the rest of us, which is always a fun show. Like I said, we haven't done this in a few years, so this should be a lot of fun. All right, let's get with the picks. We'll start off with the survivor picks. Bobby and Doug are still surviving and thriving. Bobby, we'll let you go first on the survivors.
Cool. I'm going to go with the Jaguars over the Titans. I think they're going to get it done. They're still playing for seeding in the AFC, and the Titans, they've been out of it for a while. So I think this is going to be a layup game for the Jags. I know it's a divisional game, which is always a little iffy, and I know there's a lot of the Titans kind of have their number typically. So, but I think the Jags, they're a much better team right now. Of course, I think they're going to get this one done.
Doug, what say you?
Let me see. Let me go ahead and I'll take the Rams over the Cardinals. Give me the Rams.
I feel like the Doug's taking the Rams like 9 times.
I've had them as my lock. I've had them as locks.
I haven't been diligently keeping up with this, so I feel like there might be some cheating going on, but
Wait.
All right, Jags and the Rams, and we move on to the stupid underdog picks. By the way, Bobby, the gentleman that you beat in the finals for our trophy league, Robert, is in the chat.
Oh, Robert, that was you?
Yeah, and he says at least I made it to the championship game.
Sorry, Robert. At least it's another Robert who got it done. Myself, so one of the Roberts won the trophy.
Collusion of the Roberts.
There's no need to fear.
Stupid!
Underdog is here.
Stupid!
Underdog.
Stupid!
All right, stupid underdogs, and we've got the updated score up here. But Doug is taking the lead again. He's got a 2.5 point lead over as I spit the bit. I forget who I had, but they got boat raced. Oh, I think it was UConn. Yeah, that was. I was like, come. At first, I was like, all right, man, they're hanging in there. And, yeah, that's why UConn shouldn't have been in a bowl game. Bobby, you are in dead last, so you get to swing for the fences first. Who do you got in the stupid?
Yeah, my stupid underdog pick got trounced as well. I'm gonna go with Michigan though this week at +7 against Texas. I think these teams are close to a similar level. Both of these teams will have their quarterbacks playing in Bryce Underwood and Arch Manning, so there won't be any controversy, I guess, with some players being out for the draft or whatnot. I think this will be a pretty closely competitive game, and I think Michigan can get out of there with a win in a low-scoring, scrappy game.
Okay, so you've got Michigan, and what's the number you're getting again?
+7.
+7. Michigan +7. So you believe that they're going to fight hard for
a Cheez-It Bowl or something, whatever they're in.
Ron Moore's legacy?
I think so. I think that's Bryce Underwood's career-defining moment.
Well, like Bobby was saying, I mean, Texas, their starters on defense aren't even playing. You've got 9 starters overall aren't even showing up to the bowl game. Most of Michigan's team is intact for this game, so
yeah,
they might be better off if some of the guys didn't show up. So, we'll see what happens, but Bobby's going to take Michigan. I am going to take. I wasn't sure if you were going. I knew once you took your your survivor, I didn't have to worry about. I'm taking the Tennessee Titans, 12.5 point dogs. I've lived in this town of Jacksonville long enough to know the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to jag, and they're going to find a way to screw this up. And I'm going to swing for the fences. I had one other jotted down. I'll tell you what it is after Doug makes his pick, but 12.5 point dogs. I'm going to take the Titans. I'll have to give it to Cam Ward. He's sucked a little less in the past month. I'm still not convinced that they made the right pick. I'm still convinced that if I had to do it all over again, I'm trading down and getting Jackson Dart. Yeah. And I think I would have gotten just as good of a quarterback, if not better, and I would have been able to add something to my offensive line, maybe even my defensive line. So it doesn't matter now. They're stuck with him for at least the next 3 years or so. And so the idea is going to be to develop him, which means we don't really care about losing to go up in the draft, because we're going to get a high enough draft pick where I think the number one thing that you've got to do, if you're the Tennessee Titans, is you have to go and get him an offensive line. And I think that'll be the first pick. It'll be the best offensive lineman available. Yep. Good to see you, Peta, and John in the chat as well. All right. So I'm taking the Tennessee Titans plus the 12.5. Doug, what you got on your stupid underdog?
My stupid underdog. Give me the points with Miami plus 9.5. Anytime that Ohio State.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right.
I have to hold my nose with it, but it's just that Ohio State, when they play somebody who has a defense as good as theirs, they never cover their spreads. They've only covered one time, and that was at the beginning of the season with Texas, and they only won by 7. So I expect this game to be a lot closer. I could even see with one Ohio State momentary loss of reason, Miami could actually win this game.
All right, so there you have it. We've got Doug taking the Canes tonight plus 9.5. I'm taking the Titans over the Jags, and Bobby's got the Michigan Wolverines pulling the upset on the Texas Longhorns. John said that he thought that Doug was taking the Dolphins. Yeah, I wasn't sure because the spread's almost the same. And Doug likes to do this. He likes to do cryptic things so he can claim later. Miami. I clearly took Miami, and the Dolphins won.
Obviously, I was taking the Dolphins. What
Exactly.
Obviously. Don't you know?
He'll do things like, and I'm going to the SEC, and I'm taking the dog at plus 8.5. I'm going to Southeastern Conference. Southeastern Conference, best conference in the country. That's who I'm taking. Well, you're the SEC. Then he'll get me sidetracked. We'll start chanting SEC, and next thing I know, he's like, "That's not who I picked. That's not who I picked." All right, let's go to the NFL picks. We're giving you our Whoops. Sometimes you hit the wrong button. It's probably why I realistically need a producer. All right, here we go. By the way, we're going to be doing the baseball award show next after this. I've got it slated for 10:30, but as soon as I get all my ducks in a row, I'm going to go live. So it's probably closer to 10:15. All right, Doug, let's go ahead and start with you in the National Football League. What's your first pick of our 6-pack?
Steelers and Ravens. Give me the Steelers at home to win plus, giving them the points plus 3.5. I think this is going to be basically a fist fight in the snow. But I think the Steelers will prevail.
Man, what a mess they've gotten themselves into. All they had to do was beat the Browns.
Seriously.
Yeah. And when we sit around and we ask why Steeler fans want a new head coach, this is why. Because they play with their food.
Yep.
There was no reason to give them a chance. By the way, has anyone seen an injury report on Lamar Jackson?
No, I haven't.
He's supposedly going to play. Supposedly.
Okay. I figured that's what they were doing. I figured they were making sure that he was ready to roll for the second game of the going into last Saturday's game. I figured that's what they were doing, especially once they knew that Jordan Love wasn't going to play for the Packers. They probably figured we got a chance to win, and Derrick Henry took him to the championship. Bobby, what's your first pick?
My first pick, I'm going to go Rams minus 7.5 against the Cardinals. They're not really playing for anything at this point. I think they're pretty much locked in at that 6 seed spot, but the Cardinals are a disaster. They're terrible. Sean McVay has said the starters are all going to play for the Rams, so I think it's going to be full gear ahead. And I think the Rams are going to try and build some momentum going into the playoffs. I don't think they're going to try and rest their players. I think they're going to try and build that momentum, and I think the Cardinals are going to get whooped on as they have quite a bit this year in NFC West games.
Okay, so minus 7.5 is what I'm showing. Is that what you said? Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say to some of these games with the teams that are going to play the following weekend in the playoffs for everybody involved, and I don't hate what you're saying, Bobby, is just be careful when a head coach tells you everybody's going to play, because usually that means they're not coming out for the second half.
Yeah. So
just now, the Rams might have a huge lead, and who cares? But they're going to make sure. I guarantee you, Devontae Adams doesn't play. Guarantee you that. I'd say Puka doesn't play much, and same thing with Kyron Williams. It'll probably be more of a Blake Corum show, but Blake Corum might get the bench at the somewhere into the third quarter, and they'll be basically running it with the skeleton crew. I hate that they do that in the National Football League. I hate that the NFL, that these teams start tanking. They've got to fix that, by the way. I'm telling you right now, it's got to be fixed, because the idea that you only get 17 of these games the entire season as ticket holders. I'm not talking about those of us that sit at home and go, I'm not fighting the traffic. I'm talking about ticket holders. And then you can pretty much guess. So even on the good years where you get 9 home games as a fan, you can pretty much guarantee that 2 of those home games aren't going to be worth the crap.
Yeah.
No matter who your team is, if they're in the playoffs or outside of the playoffs. Well, it's very rare, unless you're a Steeler fan, that you're fighting tooth and nail till week 17.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty clear with the Raiders that they're doing that as well, Doug. And Max Crosby goes to IR for seemingly no reason. He's saying himself he's completely healthy, he's ready to go, but they sent him to IR.
And Geno Smith isn't playing, and so isn't Brock Bowers either.
Yeah.
And I mean, that alone is just ridiculous. I'm surprised that Genty got as many touches as he got in last week's game. I was in a championship, and I was in a few championships last week, and I had Genty on three of my teams.
Mm-hmm.
It was up to the last minute. I was like, man, I don't know if I trust this, because they were benching him, but he ended up getting me decent points. But it was just like finished second in our dynasty one. Well, it's going to turn into dynasty next year. Just a heads up, we're going to go from what we did this year, which is a redraft because we had so many new people. Next year, you're going to be drafting brand new. You're not going to be keeping anyone, Doug. But you're going forward. I think everyone's agreed to a 2-man keeper. That way, it's not doesn't devastate our draft, but it also gives you some incentive to draft for the future. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I did win my old school Tennessee league and another Tennessee league that I've been in with your boy, Carr. Yep. I finished in 3rd. But the one that I've been in, I think I've talked about this many times. We just finished our 30th season, and I won the championship again.
Nice.
And that thing is a tooth and nail one, man, because some of the goofy rules that he's implemented really throws me off because it differs from ours. And sometimes it is tooth and nail to get down to the final championship. But congratulations to Bobby winning our
trophy league.
Almost called it PCR, but I guess it's the AQBR now. And I told Doug, I said, I'm not broadcasting those drafts anymore. We don't get enough people watching, and all it does is distract the hell out of me for the last. Ever since I started broadcasting, I've had worse and worse teams. And this year, we're still gonna do the drafts, but I'm not gonna be up here going and I'm trying to freaking look at 16 different pages and make sure that we don't have dead air. So I'm out on that. Like, I may put the screen up and let it go, but probably not. I don't think anybody's going to watch that. All right. My first pick, and I guess we got to pick up the pace if we're going to get into the Festivus. My first pick for the NFL, give me the Saints plus 3.5. They are at the Falcons, and the Saints, they are really starting to piss me off, and I hope I'm wrong about this one. I hope Falcons blow them out. But the Saints over-under that I got at the beginning of the year, season-long ticket, was under 6.5 wins. And now they are on a freaking winning streak. They were at one point, and look, all I need is this thing to end in a tie. But that's not very likely when two teams suck and they're coming down to the wire. But they have absolutely caught on fire. I don't know why, but his name's pronounced Shuck, even though there's no CK in his name. But Tyler Shuck, the whole time he was in college, it was pronounced Shuff, and now it's Shuck. But he has been on fire. They were 2-10, and now they've rounded off 4 wins in a row because the freaking Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers suck. And unfortunately, one of them is going to be in the playoffs. And then they smoked the Jets and beat Tennessee. We knew those two teams suck. But for both of those teams, Tampa Bay and Carolina to spit the bit is absolutely ridiculous. And the Bucs did it at home. I don't know how there isn't a coaching change in Tampa. I don't care what happens on Saturday. But that's what I'm taking. I'm taking the almighty Saints plus 3.5 because they're going to find a way to screw me in the end. What's your next pick, Doug?
I'm going to double down with Bobby. I'm taking the Rams in the 7.5. With one caveat, though, with that pick. If we were talking about whether the Rams are going to start their starters, they will keep their starters in if Seattle wins their game against the 49ers.
Yeah,
they're going to have to, because they're going to have to win the game as far as positioning in the playoffs. So they will keep them in if Seattle wins.
Well, realize this: they're playing at the exact same
Yeah.
time. So.
No, I thought I thought that one was playing Saturday. That's why I'm saying that.
Nah, they're playing both on Sunday afternoon at 3 and at 4 o'clock slot.
They're doing that intentionally. That's why that game on Saturday night. Oh no! Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well, then what game am I thinking of? I think you're right.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Oh yeah, sure enough. Yeah, Saturday night.
I got some game in my head that's going on at 4 o'clock on Saturday. On Sunday. Because now that he mentioned, I remember when the news broke, Scott Van Pelt couldn't believe ESPN was getting both of those games.
Wow.
There's
Okay.
some game that I thought, oh no, you know what? I was looking at, never mind, wrong division. I thought it had something to. Okay, I was looking at Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos earlier. Okay. But yeah, well, it doesn't matter because you got to make your pick now. But you're taking the Rams minus 7.
Yeah, I'm just saying I just come with a caveat to what you were.
We see you next time. Doug will be like, yeah, but Seattle didn't win. Now, all right, Bobby, what's your next pick?
My next pick in the NFL, I'm going to go with the teaser here, and it's that Vikings game against the Packers. The Packers are stuck in that 7 seed. They're not going anywhere. They're not going up or down. So I don't think they're playing for much. Plus, Jordan Love is banged up. So I'm going to go Vikings money line and then over 30.5 total points in that game as a teaser. I think the Vikings are going to get it done. They're like a 6.5 point favorite, I want to say. So that teaser brings them down to just needing to win, which I think they'll get that done. And then over 30.5. I think that'll clear it, but not by a ton. So give me that as my second pick.
So 30.5. Green, man, you talk about a snore fest that one's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord. The Packers, are they not playing for anything, right?
No, they're stuck in that 7 seed. They're not going up or down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oof. There's gonna be some awful football played this weekend.
Yeah.
My second one, I'll go back to what my stupid underdog was, Tennessee plus 12.5. I just think book it. I think there's no way in hell that they're not going to cover that spread. First of all, this rivalry tends to be close, and this is probably the best rivalry in that division year in and year out. And just because it's in Jacksonville doesn't mean Jack diddly in this rivalry. And so I just look, Titans have nothing to gain by winning this game. Honest and I kind of hope that Jaguars blow them out, but it's not going to happen. It's going to come down to the end. It's going to come down to the wire, and can Cam Ward drive them? I'm going to say Jacksonville probably holds on and wins it 26 to 22. Cam Ward's going to have to score a touchdown in the end, and he'll end up throwing an interception, but it's going to be close. Doug, what's your final pick on the NFL?
We got the Bengals and the Browns. I mean, this is just the Bengals. I think are just gonna stomp on the Browns just on principle to try to finish the season on an up note. Yeah, give me the Bengals minus 7.5. The only thing I think the only player on the Browns are playing for anything is Garrett going for the sack record.
Yeah,
for most sacks. So
that's one more.
That's about So I think Burrow will light them up just on principle. You got the division rivalry. Finish the season on a good note.
Some Steeler made a TikTok video AI generated where it looks like the Steelers locker room. The coach looks a lot like Tomlin. It's not Tomlin, but it does favor him. That's why it took me a second when I first saw it. But he comes in and he's addressing the team. He goes, "We didn't get the win, but they didn't get that sack record." The whole freaking locker room's like going crazy. It's funny as hell. Bobby, what is your last NFL pick?
Yeah, my last NFL pick, I'm going with the Bears at -3 against the Lions. I think the Bears are a better team this season. I don't think many would argue that. And they're playing at home in this game, and they're also playing for seeding. The Lions, they're out of the playoffs. Their season is done. The Bears, they're at home. They need this win to stay in the 2 seed, I believe it is. So they're playing for pretty big stakes in this one. So I'm going to go with the Bears -3.
All right, my final one is going to be a teaser, and I'm taking this is that Saturday game that we were just talking about. We had mixed up in the head. Bobby and I did. Seattle, San Francisco. The 49ers are getting 1.5 at home. The over-under is 49.5. I'm going to take a same game teaser. Give me San Francisco 7.5. It'll take me to it. So I just got to stay within a touchdown, and that'll take the total to over 43.5. I feel pretty confident both of those will cover. Seattle, and Seattle's defense has been good, but Shanahan has had Seattle's number for years, and he's still the best play caller in all of football. And I think he'll find enough ways to score on that Seattle defense. And let's be honest, at some point, Sam Darnold's going to throw a pick 6. So, all right, we move on to the college football picks. All right, Bobby.
My first college football pick, I'm going with a game that's happening in just a few hours. I'm going to go with Vandy -4.5 against Iowa. I think they're still playing for quite a bit, and I think Vandy's the better team. I think they've showed that this season, just on the brink of being a playoff team. Pavia, I think he's going to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, as he usually does. Give me Vandy at -4.5 against Iowa.
Okay, I'm taking the IU Indiana Bama game under 48.5. It should be a good defensive struggle. Doug, what you got?
I'm going with tomorrow's game with Texas Tech and Oregon. I'm giving Texas Tech the +2.5 points. Texas Tech defense matches up so well against Oregon's offense, and Oregon's been playing all season. They jump out ahead, they jump out, get 34 points, and then they nurse it back. They're not going to be able to do that against Texas Tech. They're going to have to earn every point they get on that field come Thursday. So give me Texas Tech +2.5.
Bobby, what you got?
I'm going to go with Miami +9.5 as my second pick for the college football slate. I think it's going to be a bit of a low-scoring slugfest of a game. I think Miami's going to keep it close. They've got quite a bit of talent on that defense. And I think +9.5. I think that's too big of a spread. They could get trounced because Ohio State's a good team, but I think this is going to be too low scoring for Ohio State to cover that spread. So give me Miami at +9.5.
Tomorrow night, I think it's 8 p.m. or maybe 9 p.m. Eastern. Georgia and Ole Miss. What in the hell is going on with ESPN scoreboard? My God, it's a jumbled mess. Where are the games at for today? All right, whatever. I know what I had jotted down. 6.5 point spread. Give me the Bulldogs -6.5. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Some of the older games are at the top and then mixed in with the newer games at the bottom.
Yeah, I've been trying to navigate that. It's a disaster on ESPN.
It is a disaster. It wasn't this bad yesterday. I don't know if it's because the New Year's coming and they're like, it's a new version of Y2K, but whatever. Doug, what you got?
Let's go out to the Sun Bowl. You got Arizona State and Duke. I'm taking Duke laying the points with Duke. Duke's offense will eventually overwhelm Arizona State. Spread's 3.5, -3.5. Arizona State doesn't have anything that resembles an offense anymore. All their starters are gone. They're playing with second and third stringers on offense. And I think Duke's offense against Arizona State's defense matches up pretty well. I think Duke will pull away late.
You're actually getting 3 on this one.
Oh, is it 3?
Yep. Bobby, what you got for your last one?
My last one, I'm going to go with Bama +7 against Indiana. I think this is going to be a close, competitive game. I think Bama's a team that they've been in this position before. They're experiencing these type of games. Even even if it's not necessarily, I know Saban's not there, of course, it's Kalen DeBoer now, but DeBoer, he's been in a national championship before. He's been on this stage where Indiana, Kurt Signetti, Fernando Mendoza, these guys haven't really. So I think it's going to be a little bit, there might be a little bit of a shock factor to Indiana early on in this game. So I think it's going to be close and competitive. I think Indiana's going to win a close game, but I got Bama staying within 7.
All right. I got Texas Tech plus 2.5. No need to tack on. I just don't think Oregon is as good as advertised. And I think Texas Tech, I'm not even sure if that game's going to be relatively close. I'm saying grab that thing on the money line and roll with it. I just think Texas Tech's going to blow them out of the water.
Yeah, I'm surprised the underdogs in that one.
I am too. I really think it's just brand name. I think people just don't understand it's brand name, and so more money's got. And the game's being played in the Orange Bowl, so it's not even like that's an advantage for Oregon. That's a long flight from Oregon to go down to the Orange Bowl. What the hell are they doing? Why'd they put that game in the Orange Bowl? What the hell are they doing? They were complaining about, by the way, that tonight's game, that it's not selling at all, and that you can get tickets to tonight's Ohio State Miami game as low as $36.
Goodness.
And I'm like, well, are we surprised? Miami's fan base is trash. They don't travel.
Yeah. They don't travel 15 minutes down the road. Why would they travel to Texas?
Exactly. They don't travel because they don't exist. So, I mean, all you get is the freaking boobs what we always call the Walmart alumni. You'll have a handful of people that you've known over your lifetime that say they're Miami Hurricane fans, but none of them have ever been to a ball game. Doug, what is your last pick?
I'm doubling down with Bobby. I got too many points for Miami. Yeah, give Miami to cover that 9.5. Miami's front 7 defensively, I think they're going to give Ohio State enough problems to keep it low. And I think Miami's offense isn't that bad. I think they can put up some points. So, yeah, give me Miami to cover.
And I'd be willing to bet the reason why it's not selling on the Ohio State side, although I guarantee they've bought more tickets in Miami, is a little spoiled from where they've been the last few years, and some of them are probably waiting to spend money in the next round, the semifinals, right? And they're not going to get overly excited to go to Texas to face Miami. And I'll tell you one thing, though. They always say this TV show, they always say that's what we're here for. It's a business. You know what's selling out that stadium in droves? Notre Dame versus Ohio State. You know what's getting your eyeballs on the TV tonight? Notre Dame versus Ohio State. I'm telling you, the ratings for tonight's game are going to be horrific. Because not that many people are going to be that interested in seeing Miami play. Nobody ever is. And Ohio State, all the SEC fans are going to go, screw it. I'll watch football tomorrow. Let's go out and party.
Yeah.
What's your lock of the day, Mr. Doug?
My lock, I'm going to take the Titans, and that 12.5 is my lock.
Bobby, what you got?
My lock of the day, I'm going to go with, I'm going to go that Vikings money line and then over 30.5 teaser. I think that one's going to hit pretty confidently.
Okay, and then my lock is going to be the under in that Indiana-Alabama game. What I really like, but I couldn't get it on the board on ESPN this morning, so I gave up on it. But the over-under in the first half is around 26.5. And I think the honest line on that, it's 24.5, and then you can buy it up to 26.5 at a minus 135 is what I'd seen, but I couldn't get it to pull up to this morning. I think you're going to get a rock fight in the first half. Alabama's not going to move the ball in Indiana, and Indiana will play very conservative, kind of like what they did with Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, knowing that defense is that good. And then by the second half, you're never going to get to that 48.5. All right, let's go ahead. Yeah, okay. Let's make sure that we cleared everything. All right, now what we all came here for, the Festivus for the rest of us.
Welcome, newcomers. The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're gonna hear about it.
All right. The Festivus for the rest of us. This is the Sports Festivus show at the AQBRs, where we're giving out the awards for certain things that went on throughout the year, and then we're going to do the airing of grievances, which of course is where the Festivus gets in. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get the fantasy football talk out of the way. So they're called the 2020 awards, not like 2020, but hindsight is 2020. The 2020 awards, who you should have drafted, who you should not have drafted. All right, Bobby, who you got for your who you should have drafted? And then give
My
me
hindsight is 2020. Should have drafted award. I'm going with Puka Nacua here. I mean, he was a superstar for everybody in fantasy who drafted him this year. And I did have him in the trophy league, and he was the main reason I got to the dance. He didn't do a whole lot in the championship game. Bijan Robinson's the guy who won me that. But Puka Nacua, man, he had an incredible season. He played incredible this year. I thought, with Devontae Adams coming in, he would take some targets away from Puka. I was worried about Matt Stafford's injury rumors going into this season, but man, he proved me wrong. He was a guy I was staying away from, and I wish I did not.
who should you have not have drafted, Bobby?
I should not have drafted Brian Thomas Jr., another receiver. He was dreadful this year. I think he had like one of the most drops in a game ever at one point this season. And just overall, I think he had like 400 something yards on the season. Just a tremendous down year from where he was in year one. I don't know what happened. You usually don't see sophomore slumps like that with receivers. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and it's really strange because if you take into consideration how damn good the Jaguars have been this year, and yet BT7 was not really involved in it. It's strange. It's very strange. By the way, I don't know if you saw it or not, but they've already extended Meyer.
Yeah, I did.
So I mean, that's going to be a potent offense the next few years.
Yeah.
BT7 will be back. I don't know what the timeline is on the number one pick out of Colorado, but
yeah.
I mean, how long is he out?
I'm not sure.
Anyways, someone was mentioning the fact how crazy it is that they were this good, and yet they did not have. It was early October that they lost Hunter.
Yeah.
They have not had the number one pick for essentially this entire run, and you think if they can get anything out of it, and I said it when they drafted, if you remember, I said it's going to be a bust comparatively because you're drafting him like he's the number one receiver or a number one lockdown corner, and he's neither. He's a 2 or a 3 at receiver. He's your second or third, maybe even a nickel back at defensive back, but he sold the Jaguars a bill of goods that he was going to be elite at both, and you knew it couldn't happen because to be elite at both, you'd have to be on the field for all of it.
Yep.
It's just never going to happen. Doug, what is your should have and should not have?
I should have drafted Jonathan Taylor because I had him. I had a chance to get him in both leagues this year, and I should have read the tea leaves and taken him. And who I should have never drafted, and I will never draft again, is Kenneth Walker III. What a dumpster fire as far as being a running back. He just absolutely contributed nothing to my team all season long.
My should have, I would say, man, it's really between Bijan and Josh Allen. I'm going to go ahead and say Josh Allen. He was just unbelievably good the entire year. And who I should not have, you can take either one. I don't care. J.J. McCarthy, which I had way too many, especially in best ball. I had way too many J.J. McCarthys in my life. Or anybody involved in the Kansas City offense, because once Pat Mahomes went down, it was a crap show. Rashee Rice, who was one of my favorite picks, because I looked at it as if I have him for the playoff run, it's going to pay off. And it was. And then Mahomes went down, and dumpster fire city.
Yep.
What a disaster. Pleasant surprise, Bobby.
Pleasant surprise of the year. So are we doing team or player? Or are we doing both?
Either one.
Either one. Well, I'll throw both of them out there. My pleasant surprise of the year for player wise is Drake May. What a year he's had. He's probably going to win MVP after that showing on Monday Night Football from Matt Stafford against the Falcons. He's probably going to bring home MVP, and that shocked me. I mean, people were thinking about him being probably the third best quarterback from that class, but now people are looking at him as first or second. I mean, he's had an incredible year. That coaching change has been great for him. And then my pleasant surprise for team-wise, I'm going to the world of college football with the Indiana Hoosiers. I'm very happy to see what they've done this year. I'm rooting for them still. Like I mentioned earlier, they're my team I'm pulling for at this point. And yeah, they've been a pleasant surprise for me.
Doug, what say you?
Well, Bobby and I agree. Drake May was a great surprise this year. I was happy to have him on my fantasy team. That was one of the few shining points of my fantasy team. But yeah, what a difference a year makes. When he got drafted on that team, I felt sorry for him because that team that he initially got when the Patriots, I thought he was going to be out of the league in the year with injuries, as bad as that team was. And now they come in with the new coach. He's playing to the potential that I knew he could play at. And so good for him. Team surprise, I'm going with Texas Tech. I just love that story. They've been fun to bet on, to follow all year round. So
I'm going to go with the same team with the player that I'm taking on the biggest pleasant surprise, dude. Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. I could not have been more wrong about Caleb Williams never developing into anything. He has really shown me. I saw it a little bit last year, but it was about the third or fourth week this year. I think I mentioned on this show about he could sling it, and I was watching games with Caleb Williams. By the way, Bobby, if you don't want to put all the different biggest surprise, all that kind of stuff on in the chat, don't worry about those because I'm going to do the headline.
Okay.
Because I don't want to wear you out, man. Don't worry about it. And it's funny, every once in a while your screen's freezing and I just see you and it makes me think you're stressing, but you're not stressing the screen.
You probably see me furiously typing over here while you're reading all that off.
You're like frozen, like you're involved in the Somalia Minnesota scandal. You're like, wasn't me. But yeah, the Bears and Caleb Williams have really, really surprised me. I could have gone with the Jaguars, but I'm going to go with the Bears because I just think they're in a much tougher division. And what they did in Caleb Williams, dude, Caleb Williams is fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
I lost our money league because I had Caleb Williams. I went up against Brock Purdy, but I'm glad I had Caleb Williams because it was fun to watch these matchups the final weekend. Because I always felt like I had a chance, man. When I had him and I had Puka, I was like, I've got a real chance to win this thing. And then,
the Bears are the team I'm rooting for right now. With once I get to January and February, the teams I usually have to pick a new team to root for other than the Cardinals.
And I never thought I'd pick the guy who had the freaking fingernails and all fingernail polish on. So because I was like, this guy's a weirdo. And remember, his dad wanted him to get a piece of the team before anyone would draft him. All that nonsense.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to be a prima donna, but he has risen above his dad and it's become a hell of a quarterback.
I'm glad he didn't listen to his family member and have another Uncle Dennis situation.
The biggest disappointments, we're calling them the Debbie Downers. Doug, what's your Debbie Downers?
Debbie Downer, as a team, Penn State. What a fall from grace. From potentially being one of the best teams in college football, starting out like they were, and then just now they're just nothing but a shell of themselves.
Yes.
What a disappointment.
Although they came back and won the bowl game.
That's true.
That actually was a pleasant surprise because, screw Clemson. College, I was telling Doug yesterday, he stopped by the house and I said, I've become less and less of a college sports fan and more pro sports fan because of all the NIL stuff and whatnot. But when it's all said and done, screw the Canes, screw Clemson, and screw the Gators. Like that, it doesn't matter if I'm not watching. I don't want to see them survive. What is your biggest Debbie Downers? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say my Debbie Downer as far as a player. I'm going back to the fantasy. Ladd McConkey, what a true disappointment. I drafted him. I gave him a 4th round draft pick in both my drafts, and he just was absolutely just almost as bad as Kenneth Walker. So that was a big disappointment for me.
Pia says I need an NFL team other than Jacksonville. She lives in Jacksonville. I don't know. Why don't you pull for those cowgirls? That way there's no stress because you've already been eliminated from the playoffs. All right, we've got. I'm still pulling for the Rams, even though I think they've got major issues going on the road, and losing to the Falcons. I'm sorry, I know the Falcons are playing good football, but come on, you got to win that game, man. That's ridiculous. I have, they're still the favorite to go to the Super Bowl, even though they're not going to be at home.
That's pretty wild. I mean, they're a great team, and they've made it to the Super Bowl twice under Sean McVay, won it once. So
I'd say it's because the other two teams that are the best teams, the best 3 teams in the NFC are all in your division, Bobby.
Guess who's not? One of those 3.
Exactly. But if you look at the other 2 teams, 49ers no defense, and the Seahawks a very spotty offense.
Yeah.
The Rams a little more balanced. So I think but I'm with you. I'd like to see the Bears do something. How fun would that be?
Yeah.
Anybody but the Eagles. Because I don't care if it's not baseball season. Screw Philly. All right. Let me see. And what's funny is Peter's like, I don't want to be a Jaguar fan. This is the year you do want to be a Jaguar.
Yeah.
This is the year you just ride the coattails, and then when it all falls apart, you go, I didn't like him anyways. Bobby, what is your Debbie Downer?
Yeah, my Debbie Downer for the team. I mean, this is pretty easy for me. It's the Chiefs. What a disaster. I mean, even before the Patrick Mahomes injury, they were on route to being eliminated from the playoffs right before he got injured, anyways. So their season was done even when he was healthy. What a nightmare season for the Chiefs. And then for my players, JJ McCarthy, man, I didn't have too high of hopes. I didn't think he'd be a superstar quarterback, but man, I thought he'd be better than this, especially in a Kevin O'Connell offense. I thought, he had the weapons, he had the offensive-minded coach. I thought he'd be able to do some decent things, at least do better than Kirk Cousins did in Minnesota, at least do better than Sam Darnold did. But no, couldn't, not even close to that level.
Yeah, my biggest Debbie Downer for the team is got to be the Washington football team. The Redskins, the Commanders, whatever you want to call them. I mean, what a disaster that team has been this year. I thought going into this year that we were going to get a very good Washington team that actually make a decent run at the Super Bowl. And instead, it's an absolute crapshoot of I don't know what to expect from them next year because can Jaden Daniels stay healthy? And they better address some offensive line issues. But in general, he's a small guy. He's a wiry guy. Is this going to be a problem, or is this just a one-off? Is this just the 1 year that he's going to have the injury?
And he doesn't do a good job avoiding taking hits either. That's
he's out there running around like he's built like Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And instead, he's like built like Mel Allen. And by the way, he's been dead for a while. And then my biggest disappointment as a person, Mike Norvell, head coach of Florida State. I tried like hell to defend you every step of the way. You suck. You suck. You have nothing going on. I don't even understand why they're keeping you around one more year. But anything short of a playoff appearance next year, fire his ass by early October. Bozos and bimbos. This comes from an old Waylon Jennings song. Bozos, bimbos, heroes, and yo-yos. we didn't have enough time to do the other two. We will do it on the baseball show. Your bozos of the year, Bobby. What you got?
My bozo of the year is Patrick Kraft, the Penn State athletic director. Fired James Franklin early in the year. Got on that early, which I didn't mind the decision. I thought it was a little bit early, but I think at that point it kind of been clear that they weren't going to get over the hump with him. But to then go on and completely botch who you're going to hire as your head coach with that much time to work, are you kidding me? That's just a disaster. You can't mess that up when you have that much time to work when you fire James Franklin that early in the season. So what a disaster for him.
Doug, what say you?
My bozo is Hunter Yurachek, the commissioner of the college football selection committee, playoff selection committee.
By the way, when Doug sent me this, I thought it was like I thought he was going to go on a hockey rant or something.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
I was like, what's his name?
Yeah, that's his name. Gets on TV and tells me that basically Miami is in the national playoff because of the head-to-head, the fact that they lost Miami, but yet just sat there and protected an Alabama team that's a 3-loss team. So which is it, Mr. Yurachek? Head-to-head, how you played?
Yeah, that thing.
Whatever. So go home, bozo.
They were constantly moving the goalposts on that one.
Yeah.
My bozos, they are head coaches that were once revered, and now everybody wonders what the hell happened and why in the world they were given another opportunity. Bill Belichick at North Carolina for college football, and Pete Carroll for the NFL. And I'm sure Doug will give an amen to that. Both of them should be fired. It looks like Bill Belichick's going to keep his job. I don't know. That lost momentum somehow, but incredibly enough, it looks like Pete Carroll is going to be out at Vegas.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a hell of a financial hit, but I think he got to, because that is one of the worst coached football teams I've seen in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Top to bottom.
I agree.
And you can't blame it all on, well, they don't have a quarterback. What about the rest of the team? I mean, come on. What are we doing here? Yeah. They never seemed like they had a game plan. What is your bimbo? And we say bimbos, we're basically saying that they're hooters. They took the money and ran kind of thing. What is yours? We'll start with you, Doug.
My bimbo, and he's kind of a bozo too, kind of a combination of both, but his name is Mekhi Hughes. He was brilliant running back at Tulane, back-to-back 1,400-yard seasons, and he just decided I want to go to Oregon because my brother plays at Oregon, so I'm going through the portal to Oregon. Now he is sitting on the bench. He can barely play. He's now a little fish in a bigger pond. What a stupid thing to do. It's just stupid. You were the best running back at Tulane. And then you just give it up because your brother is over in Oregon? Dumb. Just dumb. Dumb as could be.
Bobby, who is your bimbo?
Well, on the topic of transfer portal family drama, mine is Nico Iamaleava. What a disaster. What a disastrous move for him. Demanded a double in NIL money. Demanded his NIL money from Tennessee to be doubled after a pretty bad season from him, a pretty underwhelming season. They didn't cave. They didn't give his money. He ended up at UCLA getting less money than he was originally going to make at Tennessee. And they've been terrible. UCLA has been.
He signed the 4-year, $8 million deal to come to Tennessee, and I saw his last name. I've been calling him Iamaleava.
Yeah.
The moment he went to Tennessee,
yep.
And Tennessee fans thought I was nuts. I'm like, telling you, man, this guy is a hooer. He's going to take and the whole I'm going to hold out, dude. What were you thinking?
That was a disaster.
What?
I'm glad it backfired on him. I'm very glad it backfired on him because he made less money. He ended up on a worse team, and his draft stock plummeted. So
I didn't stay up for it, but I guess TCU ended up pulling off the overtime win against USC.
Yeah, crazy 3rd and 20 touchdown they had.
I went to bed right before I went to overtime. I was like, man, I'm not staying up for this nonsense. My bimbos, I decided to take one in the SEC and one in the Big Ten. The one in the SEC I think is pretty obvious. The biggest bimbo of them all is Lane Kiffin. I mean, what a hooer. Now, that I thought he was the biggest hooer in college sports. And then Sharon Moore showed up for Michigan, and he literally is a hooer.
Literally, yeah.
My God. I hope it was worth it, my man. You're going to not only look like you're going to face some jail time, but we're talking about losing about $15 to $20 million, not even accounting endorsement deals. And you'll never coach again. He'll never be. I hope he's smart with his money because his wife's going to take half, but he's never going to coach again. And he might be able to somehow, some way develop a podcast where it's a tell-all. But like he can't even get hired at ESPN because you don't want that. Are you kidding me? You hire a guy like him to come into broadcast. He hits on one chick and the entire department's getting sued. So what a dipstick. And now we're up to the end of this. This is the airing of grievances. And we'll go and play this one more time.
Welcome, newcomers. The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
All right, we're going to go back and forth. I think everyone's got about 3 of these. And basically, it's going to be an airing of grievances. Anything in the world of football that has ticked you off this year. I'll go ahead and start it off. I kind of alluded to it with my with my Debbie Downer. But this is for Florida State football in general as a program. What the hell are we doing? Does anybody know how to play this game? They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're getting about 30 guys hitting the transfer portal. Now, I will say this. I did hear that the majority of those are guys being told, well, you don't have to transfer, but you're not going to be here. So it's one of those types of things. And I can't imagine there's a lot of players that played on that Florida State team that anybody wants. But it does not seem that they have a game plan. They should have fired Norvell when they had the chance early in the season. I know there wasn't going to be a ton of talent after Lane Kiffin on the coaching cycles, but hell, look at what Michigan did. They turned around and they ended up bouncing back and getting the guy from Utah. Didn't think that was possible. Yep. So if you would have been at the beginning of this, you could have gotten a very, very good football coach, or maybe you could have been in on the James Franklin sweepstakes. Instead, you're running it back with Bozo the Clown. Bobby, what you got?
My first of my 3 gripes is the Arizona Cardinals coaching staff. What a disaster they are. Jonathan Gannon, he's a joke of a head coach. Drew Petzing, he's a joke of an offensive coordinator. The season's just been a disaster through and through. There's nothing redeemable to say about it. It's the same garbage every week.
Doug, what say you?
For the love of God, can't the Raiders find a coach that can build this team? How many coaches have I been through in the last, 3-4 years are all bozos, every single one of them. Every time we hand it off to another coach, the team gets actually worse from year to year with these coaches. So for the love of God, I never thought I'd live long enough to see the Raiders this bad of a football team. And I've been a fan for almost 50 years. And I've never seen anything as bad as this.
Speaking on that Seinfeld theme, you know what Florida State football has been the last 3 years? Spotting dimes and eating onions. We don't know what the hell we have. We have the best team in the country in 2023 and 2024, arguably the very worst team in the country. 2025, they smoke Alabama, and they can't do anything else the rest of the year. Spotting dimes and eating onions. That's Florida State football. Doug, were you done with your rant? Sorry.
Oh, just please find us a coach that can build this stinking team.
My next area of grievances. Quit telling me that Michigan, man, is the way. It's Michigan, man. Dave Portnoy, you putz. I know you're doing it for clicks. I get the business side of it, but quit telling me that that's the Michigan men way. That's when they go out and they hire their new coach, he acts like this whole thing was planned and how great it was to bounce back. Somehow there'll be something dirty with that son of a gun. He'll come from Utah where he was pristine, crystal clear, clean as a whistle, and he'll get to Michigan and immediately he'll have a stench on him. Quit telling me that Michigan men, the Michigan way, is anything but a bunch of dirty bums. You got a guy who can't keep his whistle in his pocket. You got another guy who had to flee to the NFL because he got 10 years for cause. He can't coach a college football for 10 years because he was that dirty. And then you got the guy who's out there evidently masterminding the whole thing with the going to games and filming other people's signs and whatnot. The whole thing is tainted. It's tainted, I tell you. Bobby, what you got?
My second airing of grievances. I'm going to go with the NCAA and their handling of everything from NIL structure, how there's pretty much no regulation with it, to how coaches are able to just get poached right before playoff season, bowl season, all that. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think I get it. They're trying to keep it consistent with like actual school semesters and stuff, and when students need to be enrolled. But I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't like that coaches are getting poached from playoff teams right before the playoffs. There needs to be something done about that, I think.
Everything to do with college sports rules stink right now.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
No one in their right mind would have thought it would be a good idea to hit the transfer portal in this time of the year. Yeah. Make them wait till spring.
Yeah.
Make them wait till spring after all the dust settles on all your recruiting, everything. What is the big hurry? And I don't want to hear, well, because getting the classes, blah, blah, blah.
We don't go there to play school.
Then open the portal at the end of the spring semester.
Mm-hmm.
You got plenty of time to pack your junk and head wherever you're going to head during the off season.
Yep.
Doug, what is your second airing of grievances?
My second, I'm what Bobby said about coaches. You realize I watched half the bowl games I've watched. I actually saw a bowl game between Montana and I can't even remember who the other person. Both head coaches were already gone from both teams. Every bowl game I'm watching. UConn, coach is gone. Tulane, coach is gone. Got a new coach. Got the coach from the other guy from the other team. It's ridiculous. You can't leave. What kind of coach leads your team when you're going into a bowl game or a national championship game?
Yep.
In the NFL, it's unheard of. You don't even get to talk to bringing a coach to another team until the Super Bowl is over with.
And the problem is because the recruiting has been bumped up into December.
Yeah.
National Signing Day is in December. The real one now the one that takes place in February, nobody pays attention to. Hell, I usually go, oh crap, that was today. I'll see it like 9:00 at night on an X post or something. Oh yeah, that's it. So that's the problem. That's the number one. It would literally be like holding the NFL draft in the middle of November.
Yeah.
You go, wait a minute, what are we doing?
It's ridiculous.
Well, sorry, man, we're already out of it, so we might as well get to make our pick.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Like I said, this plays off of that. My third airing of grievances is the bowl game con game. The idea that we're supposed to pay attention to any of these bowl games, and I get what Doug's saying about the coaches leaving, but hell, you got to, because if you're going to go run a new program with the money they're paying you, you got to try to be successful, and you can't hang around for the Gasparilla Bowl to find out if you're going to win that or not, as opposed to heading wherever you got to head to. Even in a situation with, although Kiffin did say that he would have coached if Ole Miss would have let him coach, but you cannot have it set up this way and think that the coaches and players are not going to bail.
Yeah.
there's certain circumstances where they will stay, but all too much. And this started long before the NIL. They started doing this con game, bowl game thing where they have all these people who grew up, and I'm talking about people who are Gen X or older, because I'd say that Bobby's generation is a little smarter at the point where they're like, dude, these games don't matter.
Yeah.
I still have friends that are still dug in, right? Oh, man, you got to watch the bowl game. Do I? But yeah, you'll sit there and poo-poo on me if I'm watching spring training baseball. At least spring training baseball is getting something accomplished.
Yeah.
Bowl is nothing accomplished. The only people who are watching bowl games nowadays are dopes and people who have taken so-and-so on the money line. So it's either gambling related or it's someone who just like does not get it. But I'm done with the bowl game con game. Move the bowl games to August. Move the bowl games to August. I finally started hearing some other people who are finally getting on board, some of the national media. But I have been saying this for over 10 years on this show. Move the bowl games to August. It will get everybody excited about the bowl games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a damn about any of these bowl games, but I will probably watch the Vanderbilt one today just because I like to watch Pavia play.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious what he can do against Iowa. Bobby, what's your last grievances?
My last grievance is it's a team I'm not a fan of, but the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, the Chiefs, they're out of the playoff picture. This is their year. This is their time to strike, and they're in a dogfight just to get in the playoffs. It's ridiculous. I thought when Derrick Henry signed at the Ravens, I thought the best running back I've witnessed with my own two eyes live would get a ring potentially. He's on a team that has a good chance of getting a ring, and here they are with the Chiefs out of the picture. They're struggling to even make the playoffs. I'm upset about it.
And if they do make the playoffs, I don't think they're long for them.
Yeah, not very long. Yeah,
it sucks. It's going to be one more year that they've wasted. One more year. Doug, what is your airing of grievances? Your last one.
I'm tired of this selection committee selecting 12. You have 12 people voting, or people voting for 12 teams to get into the national championship conversation for national championship games. Get rid of the voting. Just since in essence these kids playing are pros, set it up like professional teams do. You have your two best teams from the power conferences. Have them, they're automatic. And then you could have from the other conferences have one or two teams. I think you add that up, it comes 12 to 16 teams. Forget about voting. It's head-to-head, like Mr. Yukovic said a month ago about Notre Dame. You're a proven winner. No reason to vote.
I'm adding one more. It's the SEC bias that is all over ESPN, and I'm not killing SEC fans. Like Bobby's a fan of the Florida Gators. I'm not killing him for that. I'm not killing anybody who's a Georgia fan or an Alabama fan. I'm talking about just in general, the SEC bias has got to come to an end. And I wish Fox FS1 would do a better job of giving the fans something better to watch. There was an alternative to ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
They have these debate shows which basically suck, and they've leaned in so far that I know they've lost a lot of the viewership, but they still have the money to keep a lot of the talent, right? Whether you hate him or not, Stephen A. Smith is very talented at what he does. I just saw Chris Russo pop up on the screen. He's very talented at what he does. But the SEC bias from Disney, which gets piped down to ESPN, it's unwatchable. It's even leaked into Pat McAfee, who used to not be this way, but you're starting to see him gargle the chestnuts of the SEC. I mean, it's ridiculous at this point. It is absolutely ridiculous. Is the SEC one of the top two conferences in the country? Yes. But it doesn't mean that there aren't teams in other conferences that can't beat teams in the SEC. Hell, we saw that on the opening weekend with somehow Florida State beat Alabama. I still can't wrap my head around that after what we've seen all year long. But the idea that we have to just kowtow to the SEC every single time when it comes down to, because they never come down to what a team has done on the field. Goes, well, it's just tougher. It's a tougher conference. Based on what? You got a losing record in the bowl games right now. I think you're going to see that Indiana's going to smoke Alabama. I really do. That you're going to see that. But once again, it's got nothing to do with an individual team. I'm not saying Georgia can't win the national championship. But what I am saying is Texas A&M sucked, and they never should have been in the playoffs. Texas A&M was trash, and no one talked about it. But remember, right before the playoffs started, they had to have a miracle come from behind victory against South Carolina. And don't tell me they're good because they're in the SEC. Because South Carolina is trash.
Yeah.
So I'm just over it. It needs to be now. With that being said, to Doug's point, we were talking about this yesterday. I'd like to see automatic qualifiers for the SEC and Big Ten. I'd like to see that if you're going to go to, let's say, 16-team playoff, then give me 5 automatic SECs, 5 automatic Big Tens, 2 from the ACC, 2 from the
Big 12.
Big 12. That gives you 14, and then you have 2 more that would be at larges. And then in a year like this year, Notre Dame's going to get one of those at larges.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I don't have a problem with the group of 5 getting one, but don't give me more than one. So, all right, we're going to walk this off. Bobby, what is your one big thing that's going to happen this weekend?
One big thing that's going to happen this weekend, I think you're going to see an 8 and 9 NFL team get in the playoffs. I think the Panthers are going to win the NFC South. I think they're going to lose to Tampa Bay over the weekend, but I think the Falcons are going to pick up a win over the Saints, and you'll see an 8 and 9 NFC South winner.
So you have who winning that Tampa Bay game?
I have the Panthers, or the Bucs are going to beat the Saints, or the Bucs are going to beat the Panthers, I believe. But if the Falcons beat the Saints, then the Panthers still get in.
Does it? Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, because the Falcons beat the Rams on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
If they beat the Saints, then the Panthers get in no matter what.
Win, but the Saints win.
Yeah. If the Saints
still get in, is that what it is now?
The Bucs need to win, and they need the Saints to beat the Falcons.
Yeah.
So the Bucs don't win if don't get in just if they win.
Nope.
They also need help.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. I heard them mention that in passing the other day, but I didn't really pay attention to the whole thing. Okay, I see now because they'd beat a 3-way tie and somehow. All right. By the way, I still think the Panthers are going to beat the Bucs. The Bucs are a disaster. Doug, what is your one big thing?
One big thing this weekend was the Texas Tech game. A lot of people don't know it because I think it was just kind of announced. Texas Tech's quarterback will be starting. I can't even pronounce his name. Baran Morton will be starting. He hasn't played for Texas Tech about half the season. He was out with an injury. They took his boot off this morning. He will be starting, which will make Texas Tech's offense a lot better against Oregon.
My one big thing that's going to happen this weekend, San Francisco 49ers are going to be the 1 seed in the NFL playoffs. After all this, they're going to come roaring back. Because I'm telling you, a few weeks ago, we were just looking at the Rams and the Seahawks. And they're going to come roaring back. San Francisco is going to knock off Seattle. And they will have the number 1 seed. And this is something that's a little interesting. Do you know we have a chance for the Miami Hurricanes to play at home for the national championship because it's down in Miami this year, right? The San Francisco 49ers have a chance to play at home for the Super Bowl. So the 49ers, if they win and then win out, they would play all their games at home this year, including the Super Bowl.
Huh.
How cool would that be?
Okay. Huh.
Now, if there's God in the heavens, Miami Hurricanes won't complete their task. But I don't have as much hate anymore for. I used to hate the 49ers. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you bottom of the hour here in about 10 minutes for the Braves Country Radio on Braves Country Radio. The BCRs. Great job, guys, and happy Festivus to everybody.
I lost my train of thought.
Hey! Happy Festivus, everyone! It's a Festivus miracle!
Happy Festivus! Bracing my roots. We come to the feats of strength. Until you pin me, Festivus is not over. Let's rumble!